henchmen, aside from the MMA guys, are dressed the same. So someone went out and ordered them the same jackets. It's like in Blade. All of Deacon Frost's henchmen have ski caps, sunglasses, and jackets, which is a very...
And then they have, like, biker goatees, too?
Yeah, exactly. And then I love Batman. Joker got all of his crew leather jackets to match.
Yeah.
You're a supervillain, Kiyon. Would you get your staff matching henchman gear?
I mean, you have to, I think. Like, if you think about it, all the best supervillains, all their, like, henchmen, pretty much a representation of them, right? So you think of, look at, you remember Batman Beyond?
Yeah.
The Jokers, they were basically paying homage to the Joker by dressing up as a bunch of clowns. So you knew what you were getting when you were coming up against the Joker, right? So the Jokers, I should say. But yeah, hell yeah, I would have my guys like in some super dope fits, like really clean, like Balenciaga suits, and just like all martial arts experts and shit.
I would make sure all of them have bulletproof vests, helmets that you can see out of, not stormtrooper helmets.
Not like a bike helmet?
No, so I want a cool helmet. So have you seen Death Race with Jason Statham?
Yeah.
So put the remake, put that mask on him. Maybe just one level of henchmen. Give every 1 in 5 henchmen that so that you could run them forward. I'd have an Iron Man henchman that's just covered in iron and can run in and block. They'd still all get killed, but it'd be a much more interesting fight.
Or have your big henchmen. So you got all your little guys, wearing the helmets, the little regular helmets, and then when you get to the big boss henchmen, he can wear like a Rick Moranis Spaceballs kind of sized mega helmet. Yes. To like indicate he's the next guy like that's gonna give you a lot of trouble. You know what I mean?
So I'm a villain. I'm in this movie. I'm the bad guy. I'm thinking about something, Kiyon. I would put my most powerful henchman first. Now, the reason I'm doing this, let's say you put your weaker henchman first. That's just gonna give the Villainess a warm up. That's going to give the Villainess.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, the villain. You're going to get the blood flowing. You're going to get your moves in. You're going to get your feels. You'll kind of get your punches right, your sword strikes right. You might be a little rusty coming into a fight against my 58 henchmen. So I'm going to put my big people. Well, no, I'm going to put my cannon fodder in the beginning because she shoots all those guys in the first round. So I'm going to let all my cannon fodder get shot. Then I'm going to have the big people. If she gets to me at the end, it's just exhausted. Does that make sense? I don't want the Villainess getting her groove.
No, it makes sense. It's like when you put your big guy in the front, wear them down, you know what I mean? So then when they have to get to the 58 henchmen, by the time they get to you, they're going to just be worn the hell out.
And also, big henchmen are always very cocky most of the time, and that's why they lose. Instead of throwing the death throw, they taunt. If I put them first and say none of that, they're going to be bulldogish. Does that mean they're not going to be full like, oh, I'm the right-hand man. Like, you're first. That's really going to take their ego down, and they're going to want to prove a point.
True. Very true. You make a very good point. But I think, too, also that really boils down to the supervisor in charge. If that supervisor is no nonsense, he's going to make sure that his big henchmen don't go out there being cocky. We don't need no taunting. This is a Street Fighter 2, okay? Go out there, bust some ass, and then report back.
Yeah, we need a good middleman. Because the main guy, you shouldn't bother the main guy with the villain until they're about 3 henchmen away.
Yeah. And wait, can I just say, can we really just talk about, too, the cinematography in this movie?
Oh, it's wonderful. Park Jung-hoon.
Park Jung-hoon, excellent job. And even the editing as well, I thought was very well done. Ho Sun-mi did the editing. But some of those, like that scene where she's in the bathroom and she's about to take the boss man out, just that shot where you see her in the bathroom.
That's a wonderful shot.
Oh, it's such a dope scene, such a dope shot. So like, and also, before I forget, the bike scene, that one shot where the camera like revolves around underneath the bikes as they're doing the road rash thing, and she's like taking the bikers out to the left and to the right, and you got the camera start off behind her, and then it like comes in close, tight, goes around underneath the bike, looks behind the bike, comes back around. And I'm like, what the hell? How the hell did they do that shot? That shit was amazing to me.
And I love they put 3 of those motorcycles. So I guess that's her next big action scene. So she gets brought in by this shadow agency, and her first mission after being trained is to go and take out this man in his mansion. Of course, she has a sword fight with him. She kills him. She should have killed him sooner, but his henchmen chase her, and so they have a motorcycle chase a la John Wick 3, which you've probably seen. So what they did was they put him on a rig, 3 of the bikes, and then they put just a little GoPro camera on a stick and would push it forward. So when you're watching the stuff with the sword fights in front, back, and all that, it's just a camera moving around on a stick. There's a lot more to it than that, obviously.
Yeah, I'm like, wait,
there's rigs. I mean, this is the most high-tech stick you can get. But they did this in a way to just shoot it really fast. And the director said that all of these action scenes were horrible to shoot. So I've worked on a lot of sets. You've worked on sets. Filming is not easy. And watching these fights, they come across really well, but the amount of angles and shots and blood and death and choreography must have been a nightmare. But he loved doing this because it just tested him. He loved how it tested him.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Because the last movie I did stunt work on, it was just, you know, when you're in there, you're there all day and you're doing like the same scene like 4 or 5 times. You have to reset like 4 or 5 times, and you have to put that same energy 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Like, I got killed in my scenes like several times, so I had to scream at the top of my lungs several times. I had to do all this extra shit, so it can become very daunting. The fact that they were able to pull it off and keep that energy, like, it shows that they believed in what they were doing, and they knew that they had kind of something good on their hands. And real quick, the movie is The Assignment. Have you heard of that movie?
I have not. Oh, with Michelle Rodriguez.
Yes.
Is it good?
No. It's like, so The Assignment came out in 2016, right? The Assignment was an attempt to do what the Villainess did, and they just did it way, way better, because it's essentially kind of the same thing, but not so much. It's like Michelle Rodriguez's character starts out as a man who's this assassin, and then he gets like double crossed by his boss, who's a woman, who changes him into Michelle Rodriguez. It's just such a cringy scene when you watch that opening scene where she realizes that she's no longer a man, and it's just the way they go about it. It's just so cringy and so cheesy, and it seemed to me that the Villainess was like, that's a good concept, but we could do it way, 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 way better without having to gender bend or gender swap anybody, and just keep it simple. Like, take her, make her, you know, from I don't want to say a homely gal to like a supermodel gal, but like that's pretty much what they did. They took her, you know, zhuzhed her up a little bit, made her this like supermodel, high level, like 007 style agent, and kind of trained her throughout. So watching this movie, it really gave me a lot of those like, wow, this is what The Assignment could have been if they really would have like, you know, and not for nothing, they had like Sigourney Weaver in the movie and like some big names in The Assignment, and it just felt so flat. I appreciated the Villainess doing what they did and how they approached, you know, the story and the plot, and taking this character and giving her like multiple arcs throughout, just making her just the ultimate badass. It was really, really dope.
And so the director, he wanted to do 3 things. He wanted to create peerless, referenceless action. Now, we've talked about it, and there is some hardcore Harry, or Henry, the prequel. And then we have Old Boy and La Femme Nikita. There's definitely some La Femme Nikita in this. This was his big inspiration. He watched that movie when he was 10 that Luc Besson directed. He wanted to do that. And then he wanted to make action that's never boring, and then genderless, powerful action. And I think he succeeded on that. And he said that he wanted to make referenceless action. I don't know how much he succeeded on that, but I do think he took many elements of films and improved, and that's what films do anyway. But I think they were mainly, this movie works, and it will continue to build an audience because the director, the cinematographer, the casting, the editing, it was smart. They thought this movie through. Yes.
Exactly.
We are going to do you can tell that this movie was built around the action scenes. And then you can tell how they storyboarded it. And then the first person and the camera work was created to hide the budget. You can't, this movie, I don't think they ever used dolly track. I don't think they even have a dolly in some of these scenes. And that,
now that you say that, yes.
When you don't have, maybe they did during some of the training scenes or some of the domestic scenes. But that means you're not renting a dolly every day. That means you're not renting pipe every day. That means you're not renting a dolly grip every day. That way you're not leveling the dolly. So the reason this movie was able to get made is because they were hungry, they were young, they can stay up all night. And I think it's these stuntmen making a movie with other stuntmen. So they're hungry to make this succeed because they want to move forward. Then you have the actress who she knows the pressure that's on her shoulders. And so I think the creativity of this movie came from just really budgeting well. I would love to, a lot of these interviews, there is the kind of language gap and they ask the same boring questions over and over. But I would just kind of love to hear the producers and the cinematographers just talking about pre-pro in this. Because I think it'd be good to teach students on how to really plan out an action-heavy movie.
Yes, definitely. And not just that. I feel like also when you look at most movies that are done by stunt people, like Jackie Chan, he's the godfather of utilizing stuntmen and putting stuntmen on such a pedestal because they are the stuntmen and women make the movies. They are the reason why we go to see these movies a lot of the times, and they don't get enough of the credit that they deserve. And without those men and women doing all the crazy shit that we love, the movies wouldn't be half as good as they are. So when you take a person that's known for working in stunts and stunt work, and you're seeing this with Chad and a lot of these guys that are coming up making these movies now, they're getting a chance to sit in a director's chair and make action movies that, like, I like to call them like modern day 80s movies, like modern day 80s action movies. You're getting all the drama and the excitement and the kind of the over the topness, but still somewhat grounded in our present time reality, and it's just done so well. So that's just a big ups to the stuntmen and women and the stunt directors now who are coming to the forefront. And like I said, Jackie Chan is like the godfather of just really emphasizing what stunt work brings to a movie, and those early kung fu action movies with like Jackie Chan and Cynthia Rothrock.
Rothrock, yeah.
She doesn't get nearly as much respect or kind of notoriety as I feel like she should, because between her and Michelle Yeoh, they were the first two women that, as a kid, seeing them on film, like kicking ass and standing toe to toe with these men, I was just like, wow. And Cynthia Rothrock used to kill me with her her scorpion kick. She always would get in that headlock. Every movie, I would always wait to see her get in that headlock, and she's always like, and then she throws that scorpion kick, bow, on the head. Get off me, sucker. Back up.
I love that all of her movies were something like Dangerous Intentions or one of those type of films. And also Michelle Yeoh, she was in the Joined Up for Tomorrow Never Dies with James Bond in the 90s. It's sad that it was so popular, but everyone was just kind of thinking, wow, an Asian Bond girl, but no one knew in the States how badass she was.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody knew. And as someone who grew up, watching martial arts movies and knowing who she was all this time, one of my favorite movies of Michelle Yeoh, there's a couple, I have a lot. And again, you can see a lot of homage to her as well in this movie. But one of my favorite movies was the one she did with Jet Li, Wing Chun, just showing how badass women fighters are and can be, and just setting that precedent and that tone throughout the whole movie and being able to stand toe to toe with all the men in the movie, which is really dope to me. And I love to see that because I don't feel like we get to see that enough, in a sense where it's not overtly kind of exaggerated. And Villainess and Just Like Atomic Blonde, they get their asses kicked. It's not like they're just super invincible. They're able to hold their own, but they still get their asses kicked a little bit. They're not just super just blasting through everybody with no cuts or bruises. So I like seeing that element, and I like having those things kind of brought forth in the film. And 84% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really good. Good audience score. Now, what would you tell people? And also, one thing I like about this, and I know we're just two guys talking about this, with like female action heroes, but I like that he said genderless action. And I think that's more progressive than anything. It's not, hey, look at us. Does that make sense? He just said, I wanted to make genderless action. And I think I like that progression. I think that's so much more progressive than saying, look at us. And
Well, you know what it is? I'm not to cut you off. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but what I get that because of the story. The story is so purely a revenge story, right?